Good day, guys, and welcome to another episode of Cryptic Crypto, the channel that's going to give you daily insights into what I'm trading, how I'm doing, and the overall crypto market. Today, I'm going to be running through a bit of XRP and its Bitcoin trade, or sorry, its Bitcoin pairs, as well as Solana, and also running through the overall market. Just to give you a heads up, guys, thank you very much for all the likes and subscribes yesterday based off the XEN video that I did. I'm going to be creating playlists on a weekly basis around XEN, as well as some of my lower cap plays like Telcoin, Clanker, and CRV. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me motivate and understand what videos you guys like to see, and ultimately, that's where I'm going to be spending my time. So let's crack on straight into the beginning of the video. So first of all, XRP. Any of you on Twitter, my God, a lot of people were bull posting today going to the moon. I obviously, as anyone that's been watching these videos, I've had this 34 cents here pretty much since setting up, because I'm like, cool, that's the key line that we need to break, and this sloping line of resistance. Now, we broke through that, and we just broke just above 34 to about 35, and then we came coming all the way down. Now we've already got a trade open much lower than this, around about $2.20 or 22, can't remember right now. We can obviously check that on our next video where we do the 500 to 5,000, but as you can see, we broke all the way up, come all the way back down. But for me, that's incredibly bullish, the fact that we had an increase in volume, we went up. For me, hitting that line of resistance and coming back down isn't necessarily a negative. The more we test this, the more likely it is we're going to push to the upside. And coming onto that, when we actually look at, the XRP Bitcoin kind of pair, so, how many XRP does it take to create one Bitcoin, or how many XRP from a price perspective does it take for one Bitcoin? Look, I mean, you cannot get more bullish than this. So this was support, which unfortunately we broke below back in sort of May. We've been testing it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times now. This is the bottom, I believe. We've come up to test it. The more times we break a line of the more times we test a line of resistance, the more likely it is we're going to break it. And we're now trading above our 20 and 50-day SMAs, or moving averages. And from my perspective, once this breaks, the price action is going to move very, very quickly. I mean, if we just zoom out and we just do, let's just not even from there, we'll go back a bit further. Why not? And if we just do a quick, rough, just from there, it's not going to be exactly accurate. It should probably be around there. But anyway, if we look at this, even just from a basic perspective, look, we're looking at, when we break this line of resistance, roughly to 270 would be our target. And let's do this properly, because I hate it when the charts, you've got to take a bit of time sometimes just making sure these lines, but obviously I don't like putting all the lines on, otherwise it gets mental to review. So where are we? Roughly there. Cool. So yeah, our next target when we break this will be around about $2.71. Then when we came, we're looking at $4.50, $6, and look, this is a 1.68. Just some basic TA here to give us some basic price targets. Obviously, our when we break this line here, our next target will be roughly $2.66. Then we'll go $3, and then $3.40 in terms of midterm. But this has been, we've been consolidating now for so long, and XRP or any coin, the longer it consolidates, the stronger the move to the upside or the downside. Now, with all this volume and the fact that we are, with Bitcoin at the price it is now, which is pretty close to its all-time highs, the fact that we are keep knocking on this door and on this line of resistance here, just shows that it's at some point we are going to break to the upside. Yes, cool, we can come back down, test the bottom here, move back up. But when I go through some of the news around XRP, I just can't see that happening. So let's look at Solana. Where are we at in terms of Solana? You know, not a lot's happening. We broke in. Obviously, you know, this bullish signal here. We're like some kind of consolidating a bit. We basically tested the 0.618 on the Fibonacci, came back down. You know, look, it looks like, you know, the kind of low is around about 144 dollars. A great place, to be honest, if we come back down to that line to start a trade, in my opinion, because, you know, I do see a lot of upside with Solana. And again, when we look at it from a Bitcoin pairing perspective, look, this sloping line of resistance, really basic TA, hit it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, oosh, out we come. Now it looks like hopefully we'll be turning, you know, this into support and pushing to the upside. And that's what I want to see, is like, when you're looking for alt season, or you're looking for, you know, are your alts going to break out, you know, you want to measure it against Bitcoin, because Bitcoin right now is obviously incredibly, you know, bullish. Even if we just don't look at one without a chart, or okay, cool, one with a chart, you know, we are not far off all-time highs. We are really not that far off 111k. We're probably, if we look at, if we measure from where we are here, look, we are what, 4%, 3.5% off all-time highs. Really not that far. Okay, look, we keep consolidating over this movement here. Like I'm sure more volume is going to enter the market, but with all the bullish news. But the fact that when we look at the other coins that are like Solana's not near its all-time high, XRP, you know, it's $1 off. It's a hugely upside. The fact that these are beginning to trend up with Bitcoin at that price is incredibly bullish. Now let's take a little look at what other bullish news there is for Ripple and XRP. So Brad Garlinghouse, I am honoured to be invited to testify in front of the Senate Banking Committee this Wednesday on the need for passing crypto market structure legislation. Thank you. I mean, the fact that, you know, the CEO of Ripple is being invited to the Senate on a banking committee around crypto, you guys are not bullish enough, in my opinion, on XRP. If you don't think, you know, Brad doesn't want XRP price to go up, you're crazy. Obviously, he's doing everything that he possibly can to do that. And then when we look at this, look, XRP, 1.58 billion in net inflows today on Upbit. And just crazy in terms of, like, you know, if you looked at all the others and heat mapping, etc. What does Upbit know? Why are they, you know, buying so much XRP? Crazy. And then when, like, you actually look at that sentiment from that perspective and look at, you know, some of the news on TradingView, XRP could hit $35 if it captures a quarter of the remittance market by 2029. Okay, cool. Look, I get you guys. Some of you are like, well, I want to make, you know, $1,000 off a single coin today. Right. Unrealistic, in my opinion. Obviously, if it happens, I'll be absolutely over the moon. And just because, you know, I'll be selling on the way up doesn't mean I'm not going to keep a little bag or a little something just in case that scenario does happen. But look, XRP slipped to around $2.22 on July the 7th, marking a quiet season for the token. In my opinion, that's us consolidating, that's us moving towards some pretty heavy price action over a short time frame. According to recent projections, the global remittance industry will swell from 783 billion in 2024 to 833 billion in 2025, growing at 6.4% a year. Now, when we look at this in terms of, like, based on reports, if XRP captures 25% of the market value its network at twice its annual volume. So XRP would be essentially worth $8.9. Now, I think we can probably get there here. Ripple expands global ties. So the more it grows, the more likely it is. If growing adoption brings a 4x demand premium, XRP could climb all the way to £35. Oh, sorry, I'm British. Apologies. $35.56 by 2029. Now, the fact that, you know, there are people that are literally posting this kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis is nothing but bullish. Again, some more news. XRP news today. SEC advances rule to cut spot crypto ETF approval by 69%. That will mean that the waiting period for someone to get an ETF is from 240 days to just 75, benefiting tokens like Solana, XRP, and Dogecoin. ETFs are coming for your altcoins, guys. What does that mean? You know, people are going to be selling ETFs on, you know, their consumers' behalf for people to be buying them that hold Solana, XRP, or Dogecoin, or other ones, which have seen numerous ETF applications. Look, these are the ones that people are getting ETFs. Holding these kind of coins, you know, when ETFs come up, is going to add huge value. We've seen like what it's done obviously for Bitcoin with mass adoption there. You know, Ethereum's been more recently obviously having net inflows when it was a period when it was actually outflows. And this is crazy. While the SEC finalizes its new rules, some market participants have adopted innovative approaches to bring Solana-based ETFs to investors sooner. Notably, Rex Financial and Osprey funds launched the Rex Osprey Sol and Staking ETF, the first, you know, spot and staking ETF on there, which, you know, went live on July the 1st, leveraging a creative workaround that invests in a separate entity holding Solana tokens alongside a non-US fund. Look, people are queuing up to get ETFs out there. Big business is getting into crypto. You've got the president, you've got, you know, world leaders, you've got Elon Musk, like Elon Musk. Wrong one. Let's get off that. Let's have a little search. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk, Bitcoin. Load. Breaking. This was yesterday. Elon Musk confirms his new political party will embrace Bitcoin. Elon Musk, which he's created his own party to obviously, you know, battle Donald Trump probably in the future. But will American Party embrace Bitcoin? Yes. Fiat, which is your dollar, is hopeless. So, yes. The most powerful person in the world, or the richest man in the world, just like he's basically going, look, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to probably purchase crypto because it's fiat, your dollar, your pound, your, you know, debased, you know, monetary system in whichever country you live in, he has said is useless. Now, look, another one, Elon Musk investing 100 billion Tesla shares in Bitcoin. Okay, cool. I don't quite believe that. If you want to do your shareholdings at a 100 billion favor, convert the Tesla balance sheet from USD to BTC. Other firms on the S&P 500 would follow your lead, and in time it would grow to become a 1 trillion favor. Elon Musk, are such transactions even possible? Yes, I've purchased over 1.3 billion in the past. Happy to share my playbook with you offline from one rocket scientist to another. You guys aren't bullish enough. Basically is my thing. Breaking, US inflation drops to 1.75%. What does that mean? It's a massive drop of 0.52%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's huge. Back below the Fed's target of 2%. Rate cuts are incoming. What does that mean? That's bullish for crypto, guys. You know, all the news that we are literally seeing on a day-to-day basis is bullish. You know, just in the government moved 200k worth of ETH to Coinbase. I mean, that's a little bit of a concern. I'm not going to lie. Are they going to sell it? What are they doing with it? Why have they done it? Who knows? We're just going to have to watch that in the ETH chart quite closely to see what that is. But that's obviously not ideal. Some people dumping. Ethereum volatile. Should we look at the chart? Should we see if it is? Okay, cool. We've got a chart without anything. So with that news, has the price absolutely plummeted? Are we all in trouble? Is Ethereum going to fall below? No. You know, on the daily, we're actually up. Not a huge amount, but we're actually up. On the day, we had 2 negative days or 2 red candles the last couple of days. Today, we're green. So even with that news, no one's going after it. Now, let's have a look at this. So, like, again, what's the market cap? Cool, we're slightly down on the day. Not a lot. Bitcoin altcoin season, 27. Interesting. Like, when we break at this, we're actually at 29, according to this amount, which I prefer. Now, could you say that was the bottom? 11. I'm pretty sure that's across the board. When was the last time we went into an altcoin season? Oh, was it when XRP absolutely compounded and smashed the roof off it? Was it when, a number of those big cap altcoins were actually pushing up? When was that? All around December and January time. It was a very short pack, but let's zoom out. Let's see what does this look like. When I actually does that look like an oscillator? Like all those people that keep posting to me like altcoin season's never going to happen again. Altcoins season's dead. It's all around Bitcoin. Bitcoin season will last forever. Altcoins will never do it. Well, I mean, if we go back in time, and generally, when you look at these things, if it's happened once, it's more than likely it's going to happen again. That's how we trade, through past information. It doesn't always happen the same, but often it rhymes. And look, it's just happened again and again and again and again. We are now broken above this line here. When below this line, we are thoroughly in Bitcoin season. Now, could we come back down and come back up? Yes, but all the news is currently bullish. And what else is that? Look, it's not altcoin season yet, because this is just crypto. I just searched it all time. What's the general interest? It is pretty much at bare lows still. Now that's great for you, because what that means is we haven't got euphoria in the market. No one is going, my God, not every coin is absolutely pumping and people are like rushing through like they did back in, look, it follows the trends. Like when everything was beginning to pump, there was a bit more euphoria. Back in 2021, guess what? That was a pretty good time to be in crypto. Everyone was searching. Everyone in the world was like, crypto, crypto, crypto. It's quite interesting that Nigeria is right up there at the top. Netherlands is pretty high, Singapore, Cyprus. So, there is not a huge amount of people out there searching it. And that's great, because what you want is people to be, when we're absolutely skyrocketing, you want people to be buying while you're selling. So when they're buying up here, you're selling, you're selling, you're selling, you're selling. And unfortunately, what happens is then we'll come back down. And like I said, when we look at this index, it's positive. When we look at the fact that there isn't euphoria right now, like, cool, we need some macro news to probably bring a few more eyes in. Like anyone who watched my video yesterday on XCN knows that I want to see a bit better marketing from those guys to get a bit more interest. But, like when we're looking at the overall market, I'm incredibly bullish. The pairs from XRP to Bitcoin, we're almost breaking out. The XRP and the sloping line of resistance, we broke out. We just topped above here. Like a few people entered trades up here. We didn't. If you followed me, and by we I mean me. But look at all the charts. The charts are positive. The charts are bullish. There is a lot of the negativity out there has been quashed, or has already been priced in. So the further we get down this market, the better things are going to be. Guys, that's the end of my video. Like I said, please like and subscribe. It helps me keep motivated in terms of doing this on the daily and giving you daily updates on the market. As I said, I'm going to be creating playlists on XCN, CRV, Clanker and Telcoin. If you do want me to do any chart work on any of your degen coins, or just an update on anything with regards to crypto, let me know. But on that note, thanks for listening.